Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, October 26th, and there's a spider on my ceiling. It is, 4 days after Extra Life now? So here's the thing, I was getting ready to unhook all my systems and hook them back up, because the cables behind the TV are pretty bad, and if anybody knows, if you don't know rather, I have about, 12, 15 systems hooked up to my TV at once. So instead of just hooking them up, I figured I would give everybody kind of a little sneak peek of what setup I got going on, and what better time than the present. Standing in my bathroom right now, because all I have to record this with is my iPhone, as you can see here, brought to you by Apple. So we're going to walk in the living room, and we're going to see what I've done I started unhooking things already. Excuse me. And as you can see, I've got my 360 and my wireless router here already unhooked. That's one of my switches. What I'm going to do basically, and I don't know how well the lighting shows up on this because it's my iPhone. I've got an Xbox and a Wii and a Saturn down there. There's my PS3. Over here I got my GameCube, my PS2, 64, NES, Super NES, Dreamcast, PlayStation, and Genesis. This is my big screen TV. I've got a couple composite switches there. I got some 2.1 sound going back here. My subwoofer's back here, along with my cable modem. You can't see that at all. There's the switch for the sound. Still the Wii Speak microphone still on top of my TV. That's not going to be there much longer. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook all of this and hook it all back up and get these wires. They're kind of jumbled up from Extra Life because pulling systems out. We ended up pulling the 360 completely out at one point so Will and Josh can play Dead Space on another TV. But basically I don't like the way this is set up. Last year, after Extra Life was over, I went back and I completely redid all these wires. It's been a year. I need to do it again because I've been back here 2 or 3 times, and I doubt this shows up at all. But there is a huge mess of wires back here, and I need to fix them, and there's a bunch of dust back there, too, that needs to be cleaned. I've got a short somewhere in one of my speaker wires, so it crackles if I touch things too much. So basically, I'm going to kind of document my process here of unhooking everything and hooking them back up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull this TV stand out, pull this bookshelf out, and unhook all these systems, and I'll check back with you guys here in a minute. It is 8:43 right now, so you can keep score on how long it takes me to do this when I announce the time for the next video. Gundams! Okay, so it's 8:46. 3 minutes ago, I stopped the last recording. I grabbed a flashlight here. Wanted to kind of show you guys the ratness of wires back here behind. This is where I have the shelf where I have like the NES, the Super, the Saturn, and all my older systems hooked up to. It's really not showing up that well here either, but you can see this giant rat nest of composite cables and power cables back here behind this bookshelf, all going to this one surge protector. Back here as well is a similar rat's nest of cables. God, looks like something you see off the Discovery Channel ghost hunting show. All these cables and stuff back here. I really need a better flashlight, but these are all going to be cleaned up here shortly. Okay, so it's 9:46, 9:47. An hour since the last video I shot. It took me that long to pull the TV out and get all the systems unhooked. I did stop for about 10 minutes to do dishes, but that's neither here nor there. There's the NES with its cables. There's the Genesis, Dreamcast, Super, PlayStation, GameCube, PlayStation 2. I don't have a goofy sound effect for that. The 64, the 360, and the Saturn are over there. There's like memory cards, wavebird adapters, and said dishes. There's the Xbox, there's the PS3 and the Wii. Oddly enough, going through this, I realized the Wii has more cables hooked up to it than anything else, which is kind of ironic when you think about it. There's Giant Wally and a mess of power cables, coax cables, RCA cables, RCA cables. There's a subwoofer, speakers, and a controller. There's the vacuum. There's the TV, as said. Now, keep in mind, all of these systems, all of these cables, everything you're seeing here, cable-wise, modem, router, all of these cables, all of that was behind there. All of that was behind this TV. So when I say it was a rat's nest, yo, I wasn't kidding. So I dusted everything as well, found some cobwebs, fought some dust bunnies, fought a dust bunny army, really. They didn't like that I was invading on their territory. Also found this. I don't know if the camera can focus on that or not. Have no idea what that is. So you know what that is? Leave a comment on this video. Tell me what that is. Don't really know. So next thing to do, obviously, is I'm going to put everything back, but I'm going to rearrange the way I have it. I'm going to try to optimize my cable lengths here and try to make sure that all this stuff can actually still fit back there. And I'm going to check in again when I have made some progress on what's going to go where. Gundams! Okay, it's been a while, so I figure I probably should check in. I get distracted really easily, so in my process to find another RCA cable or a shorter piece of Cat 5 cable, I end up going through the rat's nest of extra cable and stuff I have in drawers. And so I decided, after I unknotted all of those trying to find cables, which I didn't find, that I should probably spool those up to where they will not get knotted again. So I'll just show you. I now have a nice set of wires all bundled up nicely with little Velcro straps. Yay. 2 drawers worth. There's more in there. And some adapters and stuff. You get the idea. I've decided on my layout. Decided to have all the current gen systems next to each other, being the Wii, 360, and PS3, all standing up next to each other. Besides that will be the PlayStation and PS2, which is currently up there. The PS2 is going to have to stand up next to the PlayStation because I don't want to put it on that shelf below, which you can't really see because it's so dark. There you go. Because down there in the very bottom it gets dirt. Over here for the PS3, Wii, and 360, I have them actually raised up a little bit. I don't know if that shows up on camera. There's actually a gap underneath them. It's raised up off the ground about 1.5 inches to keep dirt from getting sucked into the systems. Excuse me, I'm really hoarse because I've been running around a lot in here and I'm thirsty and I haven't drank. The reason the PlayStation and PS2 are going to be over here is because there's an input over here on this side of my TV, right there, composite input, which I'm going to hook this two-way switch to, which used to be for the Xbox and the Saturn, but now it's going to be for the PlayStation and PS2. Now the reason I'm putting those over here and I was changing the order, because I, as many of you know, am really anal about having things organized correctly. So in the list of inputs on my TV, which I can't show you right now because it's unplugged, the list will say Nintendo, PlayStation. There'll be separate inputs for those 3 systems, 360, Wii, and PS3. And then the other input, the one that says PlayStation will have the PS2 and PlayStation on it. One that said Nintendo will have the NES. We'll go through this 4-way switch, which has the NES, the Super, the 64, and the GameCube, all running through composite. I get composite components. It's really easy to get those confused. Then the other switch, but basically that will have the Genesis, Saturn, Dreamcast, and Xbox, and I don't know what order is going to be. I'm running out of these labels, so maybe I'll leave the Dreamcast and Genesis over there, but I kind of want to have the Genesis, the Saturn in between those two because of the way they were made, but again, that's just my weird nature of categorizing things. Back here, as you can see, I've already got the subwoofer laid out, and all 3 of my surge protectors. What I'm going to do, and yes, your eyes do not deceive you, that is a Monster Power surge protector. I was young and foolish at one time. I didn't know any better. Basically, this surge protector will have the TV, Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, NES, Super NES, Sega Genesis, all hooked up to it, and this surge protector, which will then have all the systems on the shelf. Now I realize I'm stacking surge protectors on surge protectors, and as Inspector Gadget always told us, that's a no-no. But whatever's running through this surge protector is going to be very low draw. Basically, anything that is always on is going to be in this surge protector, or this surge protector, which is actually, that one's plugged into the wall here. That's going to have the subwoofer, the modem, and the router hooked up to it, which are constantly drawing power, always on. Those will be on their own power source. The TV is always on, obviously, if I'm doing anything over here. So it's going to have its own thing, but those other systems aren't always on, and usually when they're on, there's only one of them on. So I don't feel dangerous, basically, by having them running through this surge protector into that one thing, because basically only one of them's ever on at a time. So it'd be just like one thing plugged in right there. The reason the Super and NES and stuff like that are plugged in here, because this is a better surge protector. Better be for what it costs. And those big blocks fit on this a lot easier than they do on these white dinky surge protectors. It's really funny to see this huge, expensive surge protector next to two just cheapo Walmart ones. But hey, what you're seeing here, if you can make it out, are two composite inputs, two component inputs, an S-video input, an audio out, an HDMI audio in, two HDMI points, and a digital audio out. I'm using one HDMI for the PS3, component for the 360 and PS3, for the 360 and Wii, component for the 360 and Wii, HDMI for the PS3. My 360 does not have HDMI output, and I'm using component for my Wii, which is kind of weird because it doesn't do high def, but it does look better than composite. These two composites here will be running those four-way switches, which will have like the NES and all that hooked up to them, which will be on this side of the TV, which would be on the right side of the TV when you're looking at it. And this input here on the side is the one that's just going to have the PlayStation and PS2 on it, which will be, those will also, they'll be down here, and there'll be a switch like hidden back here behind the TV with the router. And as you can see, wires and systems are starting to disappear here. Hey, Wally. So, yeah, giant Wally movie poster and more Gundams.